Welcome to our Digital Pond podcast. Today we've got Elena Sinel from Teens in AI. How are you doing, Elena?
I'm great, Danny, and thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure as always. It's been, I think, about more than a year now since I came to one of your great events where obviously Cyberduck have really enjoyed mentoring and judging. We've had people like Sam Hooper from our side coming in to mentor and me judging. So it's a really impressive in terms of what you're doing, especially because it's AI. It's such a brand new, cutting edge force in kind of, I guess, the world that we live in, and especially because you're helping teens and from all sorts of backgrounds. So tell me, like, why you're doing what you're doing. What is the journey to date, really? How have you ended up getting where you are?
Well, first of all, yes, it has been a while. I think last time you judged our hackathon, it was Brexit hack.
Oh, yes, it was.
I believe this was Brexit hack, and we challenged teenagers to come up with some interesting solutions to the problems that we will be experiencing when Brexit hits us. That was a while ago now, and we've had some great successes since then. We've ran many more programs. I think right now we have already worked with more than 6,000 young people across the world, and many more are learning about the program we're running. But it all started, well, for me personally, it started 5 years ago when I realized something needed to be done in the education sector. Because my daughter then only just started secondary school, which I think to me was a shock to my system a little bit, because primary school was, fun, and she was happy and she was very engaged in very sort of exciting learning, where the entire school would be learning in a really fun way, project-based learning. It was completely different. And the moment she entered secondary school, it turned into almost preparation for exams that would take in 3 years, would take place in 3 years. So it was death by exams from the moment she walked in. I was warned. I said, in 6 months, you won't recognize your daughter. I thought this was a great thing. It was a good warning. I thought, okay, I'm looking forward to that. But it wasn't really what I expected at all, because 6 months later, Victoria, what are you doing? Oh, my teacher said, if I don't take these exams, if I fail those exams, my life is basically over. So I really need to prepare for these maths exams or English or whatnot. And that's 3 years before she had to take those exams. So this is when I realized, wow, what are they preparing my daughter for? They shouldn't be like that at all. So I know your kids are still a little bit young. Mine is already 18. But like I said, I was just so shocked as a parent that, school system hasn't changed. They're still preparing our kids to, exams, just passing an exam, factory style. And I felt probably a rebellion, and I wanted to change something. I wanted my daughter to have a better future. So I thought, all right, I'm going to show you how we learn in the real world, and it's really not how we do things in school. I started taking her to hackathons. I started taking her to networking events, and one of the hackathons I was invited to was Product Hunt as a participant, and I thought, oh, that's a really cool one. So I took my daughter with me, and we were hacking in different teams. I was in one team, she was in another team. My team won, her team lost. She was hating me for months, but still asking me, like, when is the next one? I want to go again. And I think what I saw in my daughter, just a transformation in 2 days, where she was working in a team. She was learning how to code. She was learning how to do design thinking. She did some work on logos. So she was really part of the team, doing lots of random tasks she never gets to do in school. And she said, oh, mommy, I wish school was like that. That was really fun. That was different. And I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting. And maybe school should be like hackathons, where kids learn together, work together, collaborate, and innovate, and really use that knowledge for something purposeful. I think that's the thing that I found. Why is this that we're still teaching kids how to do maths and English and sciences, and there is no purpose to it? And kids are coming out wondering, what the hell is this real world is about? It's really not what I was learning in school. It's actually a lot more complex. There is stuff in AI and IoT and some other really fascinating stuff like design thinking. And all I'm learning is that. And this is when I thought, okay, let's run the first hackathon. And I ran it in 2015 with just 70 kids, that came from Camden, some school, UCL Academy, and some other schools from Tower Hamlets. And I thought, okay, let's just do something creative. And I was literally inventing on the go because I had no idea how to run a hackathon and what should be in a hackathon. And I thought, all right, on the go, design thinking. What the hell is design thinking? Better find out and learn about it. And then I said, okay, this is really cool. Needs to be in the hackathon. What's agile? What's, project management? I knew nothing about this world. I just literally had to become an expert in every single framework that I teach to the kids. And that happened really fast because I had to teach them something that I know would be valuable. I brought in a lot of industry mentors. This is how I also found you, because I said I need somebody who would teach design thinking in a way that they really know what they're doing and they can teach young kids aged 11 to 19. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I literally had to vet everyone, and I had to speak to Sam and all of the other mentors to really understand there's one thing to know what design thinking is, and there's another thing to teach it to adults. And there is an absolutely different layer of how to do it for kids. How do you teach kids what design thinking is? IDEO have designed this incredible framework and methodology, but people struggle to teach it to the audience that has never ever done it. So yes, so by just learning about all these frameworks, becoming an expert in each one of these bit by bit, I thought it would be really cool to reinvent how kids learn, and how kids learn in a way where they can create something that is purposeful, that is meaningful. And I went with it. And after the first hackathon, to be honest, I thought I never, ever want to do it again. It was a lot of work to put together such a big event with 70 kids and another 50 mentors, speakers, judges, and everyone else. I thought that was exhausting. But turns out 5 years later, what I found was really exciting back in 2018 was AI technologies, which was just becoming the buzz and the hype of it. And I just jumped on this opportunity. I thought, what's AI anyway? And there was a teenager that came to me, and that teenager was feeling very suicidal and on the verge of committing suicide, and literally came to me asking me to help him to save his brain, because he had this incredible mind. And he said, Elena, I'm a threat, kind of risk to myself. I can't go to school. There is nothing I can do. Can you give me something to do, like something, a job or anything? You don't even have to pay me anything. Just let me do something to help you, because I can't do anything at school. And I asked him, what's your passion? He said, it's AI. I've been coding since I was, 11, 12. And in the last couple of years, I was, exploring artificial intelligence and data science. I knew nothing about it at that time. I said, all right, fine. If you want me to help you, I need to know more about what you're passionate about, where your passions lie. And we ended up in 2017 running our very first hackathon in mental health, because I really wanted to help this boy. I challenged him to design the whole program for me. I said, you bring the AI experts that will mentor the kids. You show me what this is about and where the potential is. Sell it to me. He did. I got really excited. I brought, IBM and lots of other organizations on board, and we did this really incredible hackathon. And then in 2018, United Nations found out that we're teaching AI and data science to kids. They thought, oh, wow, that's interesting. How is she doing this? They invited me, and I used it as an opportunity to launch a proper movement, because I felt it was necessary that this technology is available to everyone, even as young as 11, 12, because they're so capable kids. That's how we launched Teens in AI. Since then, everything else is history. 6,000 kids and counting. That's how it happened.
It's a fascinating journey, and I know that you're working with, I guess, both first world and third world countries, and you've got also a big emphasis on diversity, both in kind of gender, race, and obviously people from different backgrounds, like impoverished communities as well. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, in the latest hackathon, we had 130 kids, and the winning team was from Syria. And I absolutely didn't expect even kids from Syria to find me. But one of the mentors was in one of the Facebook groups where one of my team members shared an event. They found me, they reached out, they said, we're in Syria, a city I've never even come across, not even a capital. And they said, we have an AI club here in Syria, in this little town. I said, wow, that's incredible. I said, what do you do? And they showed me the 10 kids that they have worked with. And I said, well, wouldn't it be amazing if these kids, had an opportunity to connect with other kids in other parts of the world? And so these 130 kids coming from Kazakhstan, from Nigeria, from Kenya, from UK, Europe, US, and Syria spent the whole week together trying to tackle, issues in mental health and climate change and education. And we're always aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And that was really fascinating to watch how kids really work together across different time zones as well. So yes, we somehow managed to find, or rather they find us, because everything has become so virtual. So it's the advantage of being living in the times of COVID.
Cool. And I guess what lessons have you learned along the way since you started building the business? Because obviously you started from nothing. You're hugely entrepreneurial, which is amazing. It's obviously very rare for small businesses to be able, or individuals to start a small business and keep it going for 5 years. That's a massive accomplishment. So what are the main things that you've learned, and I guess you wish that you would have done differently if you have the knowledge that you have now 5 years down the line?
So one of the things I always recommend to early stage entrepreneurs who are still trying to figure out or wondering, what to do is, first of all, find a real problem and solve it. Second, find something that really defines your purpose in life, something that you're really passionate about. So for me, if I was just doing a 9-to-5 job in some corporate company or some other company working for somebody else, it's not something that would really keep me there for long. The reason why I get up every morning, 6, 7 a.m. Is because I know that every single email I send, every single phone call I make or Zoom call is going to change somebody's life. That's pretty much it. And because I've always wanted to make a difference and make a dent and do something impactful, that really matters to me. And the third thing I would recommend is learn to ask for help. I think this is something I still struggle sometimes, because it's just that, you think or you feel you can do it all by yourself or all alone. And then I find really burnt out, tired, exhausted. And then I just figure out, but I know Danny, who I can just call and ask him how to hire my next business dev, because Danny has done it many, many times. Why can't I just call Danny? Should have called Danny and asked him. It's this kind of, when you kind of feel like, oh, I can do it, I'm sure I can do it. And then you spend 24/7 trying to tackle this. And, and business dev is something I do all the time, but still, maybe, I'm not excellent at negotiating or whatnot, but maybe I should have a call with somebody who really does it for a job, just does that, sales. Or, HR questions or whatnot. I would Google for hours and hours to try and figure it out by myself, when I could just reach out to my network and say, I know Catherine, who is, top marketing expert. Maybe I should ask her how to do this. Yes, I struggle with this sometimes. So I would say, just ask for help and reach out. People are kind generally. Find somebody who you really admire, somebody who's a couple of steps above you, and say, I want to be where you are. How did you get there? Please, can you have 20-minute conversation with me? And just, I think those kind of things is what entrepreneurs probably would really benefit from. And sometimes we are fearful or just feel like, okay, it's my journey, I have to do it. Yeah.
That's great advice to, I guess, people who are considering, starting a business or early stage entrepreneurs. And obviously you have an incredible network. I mean, I see your network whenever I come to your events and online as well now. How did you, what sort of tips can you give to these entrepreneurs about building a network? How did you actually go about building it?
I think the reason why I have such a big network of people who are really sort of aligned, I suppose, with how I think and what I do is because it all goes back to your mission and your purpose. I think when you are really onto something you yourself believe in, and other people reach out, other people start believing in you as well. So I think it's very important to have that purpose defined, that why defined. because whenever I speak in conferences, people believe in what I have to say, and that's why they reach out. They want to connect. They want to have that conversation to then tell me, how I could perhaps help them. And this is really, it all goes down to what you as a founder believe in, and what values you have, what foundations you have. And when people are aligned with these, they will reach out and they will want to have that conversation. I think that's probably the best way to build a network.
Cool. And obviously you mentioned like that when you first started, your daughter's story, which is fascinating. Why do you think like AI was the thing that you picked?
It wasn't so much AI. People think that all we do is teach kids AI, but it's not. What really I do is, and what the company does, is we empower young people to change the world through technologies like AI. But it's not really, we are not really your typical coding school where we just sit kids and teach them how to do AI. We don't really do that. What we do teach kids is how to think and how to solve problems. Because what we need in the future is leaders and innovators and people who can solve real problems. And just learning to code is very, very limiting. So we focus on a holistic program where we don't just focus on AI skills. This is a given, and it's not really that hard, to teach them Python or data science or, TensorFlow and whatnot. What is much harder is to teach kids how to think, because unfortunately, it's not what schools teach. They really don't teach kids how to think outside of the box, how to think laterally, how to work in a team, and how to solve a real problem. That is really our USP, not so much the technology itself, because the technology to me is just an enabler of something positive, I hope. And that's why everything we do really is underpinned by ethics. So not only do we teach AI, and that's probably something that we've introduced recently, Danny. So in the Brexit hack, we didn't really talk about AI ethics, but right now we talk about AI ethics in every single program. We talk about racial biases, we talk about gender biases, we talk about algorithmic biases, and we do send resources like TED Talks that really highlight these issues. We would. So we really do bring to fore all of the issues we're currently experiencing with technologies that are being deployed and developed without really giving enough consideration to the ethics, to what happens to data, to the privacy and everything else. So that's really, I think, the important part. And I really do think ethics should be taught on a par of any computer science degree. And really should be embraced in school. And it's really one subject that girls in particular are really drawn to. Sometimes they assume they're not that technical. The moment you talk about racial biases, the moment you talk about human rights, this is where, I feel so many girls are really drawn to the subject of ethics in AI. I get approached a lot of the times by students asking me, can you please give me some advice? I'm writing an EPQ about AI. What subject should I talk about? I'm really drawn to racial biases because I am from the BAME community. I'm shocked that there was this technology that was developed that didn't really recognize Black people just because of the color of the skin. So I have this engaging conversations coming from girls, students who really are fascinated by this topic and are just really curious and really want to change something. So ethics is an important topic. We teach it in every single program, every single campaign. And I really am a strong believer that it should be part of every school curriculum.
Yeah, I mean, I completely concur. I mean, ethics in AI is so important at the moment, particularly because obviously, as you said, it's not, I mean, whilst it's obviously is complex to do it properly, the tools are out there now in people's hands. And there's a lot of stories out there of tech companies that have either created AI or were about to release AI and actually realized, look, if it's going to get into the wrong hands, this could be catastrophic and used kind of in a malicious way, whether it's against communities, countries, people. There's been plenty of examples, I guess, in the corporate world, haven't there, of issues. So as I guess it's becoming easier to deploy AI, the ethics behind it are absolutely paramount. So it's great to hear, and obviously it's fascinating at the same time to learn that, you know, girls are a bit attracted to the ethics. I think it's a great thing, isn't it? Just tell me a bit more then, because obviously when I came to your hackathons before, I think the Brexit one was about a year and a half ago now, wasn't it? It must have been a year and a half, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously it was great. You know, I really enjoyed seeing, you know, so many girl kind of, I guess, AI hackers there. Obviously it's becoming difficult to get people in a room together. So how are you finding this new reality that we're in, or new normal, and what do you think is going to happen afterwards?
Well, the last face-to-face hack we ran was in Paris in March 2020. And that was just before, you know, the lockdown was introduced, and that was fun. Just before that, I signed a contract with Microsoft to run a roadshow to sort of go from one country to another. And I think the contract I signed was for 6 countries, 6 cities. We were meant to go to Malta, to Netherlands, Italy, and lots of other really exciting places. I was so looking forward to that. And prior to this, myself and Microsoft have gone to, you know, parts of the US and then Warsaw and Bucharest. And the plan was really to go forward and expand this program to 150 countries. And the program was really specifically focused on girls. But that all stopped in March. So unfortunately, that was the last program. This was International Women's Day as well. In March, this hackathon was happening in 6 cities simultaneously. Orchestrated by us. It was meant to happen in 13 cities, but it got interrupted by COVID. So we've had our challenges, but I thought, okay, never mind. We just have to pivot and see what we can do online. And I remember the first, call I had with my team during the lockdown. I said, okay, well, I'm not really used to working from home, but we have to. We don't have a choice. I know many companies are going bust or are finding it really, really difficult to pivot. I said, we can. And the last thing I want is to fire anyone. So we need to figure out a way to go forward. And we did. So we explored every single online platform. We found, okay, great, Discord seems to be safe and secure. It's a gamers platform. Kids love it. Maybe this could be an online virtual environment. And we said, what's stopping us? We started running hackathons online in Discord. And we've ran 4 programs since COVID. The first one was very impromptu, improvised. It was youth versus COVID, something we didn't expect to run at all. But we thought, okay, well, it seems like everyone is doing amazing things, just nothing for young people. And everyone was struggling. Parents were moaning. I was moaning, like, how am I going to do this with my son jumping on my bed, literally in front of me? My daughter is also moaning because she's 18. That's what they do. You know, she doesn't want to be at home stuck. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And we had a hackathon. We had 270 teenagers submit 70 projects. They're all live on DevPost. Amazing ideas. Trying to really tackle COVID-related issues. And it was incredible. Things related to domestic violence, things related to mental health, things related to education, because all schools and all, teachers were really struggling to begin with. If you remember, it was such a shock to everyone's system. And we challenged kids. We said, what do you want that world to look like? How can we solve these challenges? I mean, you're struggling, everyone else is. And it was just fascinating. This was the first one. It was a 12-day long hackathon. We thought it would give them a bit more time because it's a bit difficult to work in an online environment when you're not used to it. And since then, like I said, we've ran 3 more. The latest one was Ada Lovelace Hack with 130 kids. In the summer, we ran our accelerator also online. We extended it to another week. We introduced a boot camp so that we could teach kids the technical stuff first, and then did our classic accelerator program. And that was also phenomenal. We had 300 applications just to, 45 places. Usually it's 25. We increased it. We thought online, maybe we could scale and make it bigger. 300 applications, and most of them came from Afro-Arabian, communities. in the UK, Europe, and also from African countries. We've had applicants from Nigeria, Kenya, Cameroon, you name it, Fiji. Lots of different really interesting countries that we've seen applications from. And so the 2020 cohort for the accelerator was very, very diverse. Yeah, I was very pleased with that. And the outcome is so much richer when we have diverse teams working together. Boys, girls, different age groups, and also different abilities. So you don't even need to be a coder to participate in our program. You just need to have passion to change the world. That's all, really. So it's been really an exciting journey, I would say. Challenging, but exciting. I've seen this as an opportunity. I think we as entrepreneurs, we kind of are trained in our minds to think, okay, it's challenging, but there is always an opportunity. What can I do? How can I break through? What can I do differently? And right now, when somebody asks me, okay, Elena, face-to-face or online? I say online, of course, because the moment it's online, you have so many more people who want to join and want to participate. Even with mentors, we have mentors who participated from Singapore, from China, from India. It was incredible. And I love this kind of diversity and also neurodiversity. We have kids now who wouldn't normally come to a face-to-face hackathon. They have autism or Asperger's or ADHD, or other incredible abilities. So for me, these are unique kids. We just can't reach these kids offline because they're either shy or sometimes physical disability also prevents them from participating. Whereas with online, all you have to have is a Wi-Fi and a laptop, and that's it. And children who are neurally diverse, they find it much easier to participate this way. They don't even have to have their cameras on because we don't really insist on this. When we have webinars or whatnot, classes on Zoom, nobody needs to even turn the camera on. They can be in their pajamas in bedrooms, and it's great. It works for them. So it's been really interesting to see kids, particularly referred by CAMS, who also found it so beneficial. We had a lot of amazing feedback from parents saying, wow, my kid gets bullied in school because he has autism. But in this environment, he really thrived. It was really great. He felt so confident. He had a role to play and he was so proud. That was amazing. Yeah. So I actually quite embraced it. And I said, well, with online, we can literally make it happen in any part of the world, or even better, bring all communities together. Yeah.
So it sounds like that, the end users, I guess, all of these kids all over the world are benefiting a lot more now because of the pandemic. Obviously,
yeah.
It's not something that you anticipated, but it sounds like it's really impacted your business in a great way.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's definitely a lot of interest, a lot of demand. With our business model, we always keep our events free or heavily subsidized so that they are accessible by anyone who can tune in, as long as they have access to Wi-Fi and laptop. And so we prefer working with corporates who pay a sponsorship to be part of this program, to have a chance to mentor. And also, we have had a lot of HR directors who would reach out and say, I want to offer a meaningful experience for my data science team, so that in times of COVID, when it's really tough, all they have to do is, they work every day in front of their laptops doing the work that they do. They can't go out, they can't travel anymore. So an experience like this, when they can tune in online and help a child learn about some basic data science skills or AI skills, that makes them feel great, and that makes us feel great as a company. So these are the companies we work with who find it beneficial for their employees. And also, obviously, brand awareness is always a bonus as well. And if they can recruit from our incredible pool of talent, that's always a plus as well. But we found it really, it seems like it is beneficial for the mentors, not only in terms of their mental health, but a lot of mentors say this is a learning and development opportunity, because they say, I'm learning as much as the kids are learning, because we sometimes have a design thinker from, let's say CyberDuck, who just doesn't understand maybe much about data science. So they have a chance to also learn some other skills. And then a software engineer from Quantum Black, who perhaps doesn't really know much about design thinking, and they have this cross-pollination of ideas and skills, and that really benefits them. So, well, I don't really know much about design thinking because we have a design thinking department. They do design thinking, and we just do our data science and software engineering. But we found it's amazing when we bring so many different expertise onto the table, and they all learn from one another. Not only from one another, but also from teenagers, and also from the most incredible, inspiring speakers that we have. And we really tapped into top experts in the world. We've had somebody like Virginia Dignam, who is well known, for her work in AI and ethics, who would be tuned in from Sweden to do a 20-minute or half an hour talk. I could never possibly get Virginia to a face-to-face event. Never. Because she's such a busy woman, or we would get somebody like Amy on a podcast. Amy, she leads on the work in AI and robotics. We interviewed her today on a podcast, but I couldn't possibly bring her into London or go to Netherlands to interview her or work with her. But yes, online gave us the opportunity to tap into the greatest minds in AI, data science, and ethics. It has really been incredible. And the teenagers love it. It's the kind of inspiration that is needed in their lives right now.
Yeah. Fascinating. So yeah, just we're almost out of time. Just one final question, I guess.
Yeah.
How I guess are you going to move forward? What I guess are the opportunities that you're looking for? How can I guess CyberDuck help you? And where's your roadmap? What are you looking for? Is your next phase of growth, I guess?
Yes, absolutely. So we're definitely set to scale. We're hiring at the moment for a business dev and to help us with operations as well. We definitely are looking into making our campaign in March bigger, really tapping into distributed hackathons. We have got teenagers themselves now who want to run these hackathons. We have companies who reach out who want to take our framework and run these hackathons for teenagers. So we really see us scaling in that way, where we'll have lots of hackathons and we will just manage and see what they're doing. So we are definitely looking for sponsors who could sponsor and align with our vision and who will benefit from this kind of exposure, because it's IWD, International Women's Day, and it's a massive event in every woman in tech or women's calendar. We are also looking for to forge a partnership with NHS. So potentially we're looking into Teen Accelerator with NHS, Tavistock and Portman Trust, where it's really teenagers themselves developing solutions to mental health for teenagers, which is very, very powerful and a very unique partnership. So that's what we're developing as well. And in addition to this, our summer program, which is our flagship program, is going to be run again in July, August. And this is this is what we're well known for, which is like a Y Combinator / DeepMind for teenagers. And it's really exciting. We will make it hopefully bigger this time, definitely expanding into other countries. We're launching in France in January. So keep an eye on what's going to happen in France. This is a really exciting development after that, just one hackathon in France. We've also launched in Brunei. So this is our foray into Southeast Asian market. So we're having some conversations with Southeast Asian clients, also exploring Middle East with conversations in Oman and Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So there is a lot of interest. We are definitely hiring and getting this technology and this program into the hands of many teenagers, hopefully either through teachers or through governments and whatnot. So it's going to be a very busy year. I think the key word for this year is team building, to build a really strong team to make this happen, because scale is our priority. And we want to make sure that as many teenagers across the world learn how to create AI for impact and really understand how this technology works, because the more they do understand how this is working right now, the better they will have the opportunities for future careers and really opportunity to see their potential and find their purpose in life as well, in the same way as I have found mine.
Fascinating. So Elena, thank you so much for attending this Digital Pond podcast by CyberDuck. Me and you need to catch up.
Definitely.
So let's
Thank
talk
you for
soon.
having me.
Thanks again.
Definitely.
Have a great
Thank you so
rest
much.
of the day. See ya.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.